Ladies and gentlemen, after much speculation and concern, we have finally reached the point in our collective consciousness, in our popular zeitgeist, where we can all definitively say James Bond certainly did have enough time to die. He did it, guys. He had all the time to die. There was no time to die, but you know what? He found the time to die. Spoilers for No Time to Die. It's a bit, but you get it. No Time to Die, the 25th outing for the 007 character, the 5th outing for Daniel Craig, the swan song to his entire era of James Bond. Heavily delayed. Before COVID, I think it was delayed too. This was anticipated beyond belief for a lot of people. They were just hand over fist losing money not releasing this. So it drops in October, and you know what? It's a pretty good James Bond movie. I mean, to rank every 25 would be impossible, but it's in the top 15? Top 10? I don't know about top 5, but it's one of the better ones, and it doesn't hurt that most of the James Bond movies are bad. So, Daniel Craig, he comes back as 007. He wants to finish this off with a bang, and boy howdy does he finish it off with a bang. Now, I kind of made a joke at the beginning. It was a No Time to Die thing. I think you should talk about this film openly of spoilers. So I'm going to put a spoiler context in here. If you don't want to be spoiled, then don't watch this review. This is him saying goodbye to the character in the fashionable way that Harrison Ford wanted to say goodbye to Han Solo for decades. Daniel Craig gets killed. And it's a good send-off because the entire message of this movie is pretty much, I have been saving the world for so long, and it has left me in this state where I can't die. But now that there's time for me to die, I'm going to be saving my own personal world through the events of his love interest, Madeline, and their supposed daughter, which is kind of an interesting angle. Now, with that out of the way, with those big things out of the way, the rest of the film is very interesting. I think there are certain moments where I'm like, oh, I see what you're going for here. This is just like, let's get him out of retirement again. And I don't know if the retirement angle works because it feels like every time he's in one of these films, he retires. He retired in Skyfall. I feel like he retired at the end of Casino Royale. I feel like he retired at the end of Quantum of Solace. He's retiring all the time. So he's thrust back into this world to no events of his own, and then suddenly he is brought back into the mischievousness that is this entire operation. And it's actually pretty cool, I gotta say. It's a compelling story. I do think there are certain elements of it that could have been taken out. First off, one of my biggest complaints about this is we know it's the wrap-up, so we kind of have to tie up every loose end with, like, named Bond characters, so we have to put Blofeld in here, we have to put Felix Leiter in here, we have to put Q and M and Moneypenny, and I'll give you like Q and M and Moneypenny. They serve the story because that is his world, that is what he is a part of. I don't think the Felix Leiter stuff was necessary. I will say I loved that in the entirety of the film, it's the only person that makes James smile is just having Jeffrey Wright there as Felix. It's like, these two guys have been through shit together. They trust each other. Their agencies are a little bit old-fashioned that way, so these guys are just buddies and hanging out. I liked that chemistry. I think the moment when Felix dies is some really compelling stuff. And I also think, yeah, we wrapped it up. You know, we had to kill a main character that wasn't Bond till the end, so it's Felix. And I know they did like with Judi Dench and Skyfall and everything, but I just think, I get it. I think a big problem I had with this was like, do we really need to have Christoph Waltz come back? Yeah, I guess, because if it's a universe, then, you know, Blofeld, he's a known quantity. You like him. He's in it. He's doing some stuff. Cool. I did kind of like the moment where James kills him. That was kind of interesting to see. I did enjoy that. It was because no result of his own. It's just kind of like an accident. Now, there is an overarching villain here, played by Rami Malek. I believe it's Safin or Safir is this character's name. And he is an interesting villain. I won't say he's compelling or it's interesting. It's very cliched revenge story, nanobots that make people sick. That's it. That's literally it. It's like, okay, I get you. It's fascinating. There's some weird stuff going on of like how old he is, because Madeline was a child when they first met. When they meet again, he looks the same age. So it's like, well, how old is this dude? Is he 30? Is he 50? It doesn't matter. Madeline, again, a character that I'm sure some people like. I have never really thought, like, that should be the one he stays with. I get it, though. She's almost age appropriate, where you're just like, okay, she's at least not in her 20s. I'll give him that. She's in her 30s, so it's kind of cool to see that work. But Daniel Craig's 53. Again, this was filmed like 5 years ago at this rate, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, okay. I see what you're doing there. I see. I kind of feel like I should talk about this film in context of spoilers, just because it's the last outing. It's the last time we're going to see Craig in this role, and I think it's important to get the context for that, because I think throughout the film, there's a certain tone that comes about it because Craig is excited to be done. There's a certain energy he has where he's like, yeah, I'll just take that drink. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna kill this guy. Yeah, I'm just gonna flirt with Ana de Armas for a bit. Let's just do it. You know, I'm done. I don't care. I'm done. We'll just do this film. Let's get it done. I'm done. Whatever. I'm done. I don't have to talk about it ever again. Goodbye. I think the energy is there, but I think also there's some like sadness to that where he's like, I'm done. What else can I do? I'm done. I'm just gonna stand on top of this building and watch missiles hit me. And it's kind of cool. It's kind of an interesting way to like play off both those sides, where like the sadness that you're never doing this role again, as compared to the I'm so glad to be out of this because my back hurts. And they both work really well when they're in the context of working together. I think that's very cool. The action is pretty good. There's a few moments where like the shaky cam comes into play, which is evocative of this era. Of course, we're post Jason Bourne, and some action films still feel the need to put in the shaky cam stuff. But there's some good stuff with like car chases that look great there. There's a beautiful continuous shot up a flight of stairs that is spectacular to see. That is the shot of the film for me. Just seeing that is just gorgeous and really fun. It looked incredibly cool, very unique. Ana de Armas is in this, and her fight scenes were pretty interesting. I kind of liked that her character didn't really want to sleep with Bond, but just like, yeah, this guy's kind of cool. We'll hang out for a bit. She's a new agent. Could you have cut that scene out? I think so. This film is 2 hours and 46 minutes long. You could have cut out a bit of it. And I'm not saying that as a negative. I just think you could have made this tighter, because there's a lot of meandering for no reason. There's a lot of pretty much building up to a reveal that we already kind of know. Like, I think the beginning sequences you could trim down a lot. And you could maybe leave more up to mystery as opposed to what is being said. That being said, too, it does build up to a great story with like the reintroduction to James to Madeline and how those two come back together in the end. I think that is interesting for the most part. Some of it just falls kind of flat, but it works. It does work for what the story needs it to do, and that's cool. James Bond has, I don't think, really any iconic suit in this movie. I think throughout it is just standard looking stuff. He looks more tactical, I should say. There's not much of that suaveness. There's like one scene where he's like wearing a nice suit, but the rest of it is just like tactical, you know, let's just have fun with it. And it's interesting. And it's kind of cool. A lot of, I don't know. I don't think it's the best James Bond film ever made. It's definitely not the worst Daniel Craig James Bond ever made. It's somewhere in the middle where you just respect the story it's going for. It's a great send-off to this character, because this James Bond is different than a lot of them. I think he's a little more like stoic and angry. I think there's a certain way you have to view a 007 film, and that is the fact that James Bond is a sociopath, where he is just like, he wants to kill people. He has no remorse for the people around him. He hates everyone. And I think you really see that in like the Daniel Craig stuff, where he is just like this murdering machine who has no sympathy, no emotional range, just walking into any situation, ready to kill everybody in the room. But for some reason, there's a few special women that can sneak up there and connect that to him. He's less of like a playboy and more of just like a guy who falls in love fast, and that kind of affects him. So I think this being the wrap-up where he could have his happy ending if he wasn't James Bond kind of works for that. I think it's a cool send-off, and it's bold to see them actually kill a James Bond like this. It's interesting. It's a good film, you know. Ralph Fiennes does great, Ben Whishaw does great, Naomie Harris does great. They're all doing their roles well and playing it just fun, you know. It's interesting enough, and I was surprised to see Phoebe Waller-Bridge's name on this, just because she's a talented woman. I'm like, really? Which part of this did you write? There's like 4 writers on this. I want to know which part she did. But let's also talk about that No Time to Die theme song and those opening credits there, because that's a part of Bond that people love to see. They're good. It looks cool. I just love the way it's like these old warrior, like statuesque things falling into the ocean as if we're saying this is the end. Like these empires are falling. This type of like Spartan centurion no longer exists and it's falling into the ocean. That's pretty cool. It's very evocative of what the story is presenting with here. And this song by Billie Eilish is really good. I don't talk about Billie on this channel a lot, but I'm a big supporter of her work. I think she's a talented young woman. I liked her song. I think it's very, very perfect for what this movie was setting up, and it sounded great in the context of everything. It's a very strong Bond film. It's a great swan song to the end of Daniel Craig's era. You can feel that he is ready to go. For good or bad, he is ready to do this. The characters it introduces are fascinating. The story legs a little, and the villain does become no nuanced. He's just a basic villain. The nanobite stuff just bothered me. I'm like, really, nanobots again? Nanobots suck. Never put a nanobot in anything. Making people sick for no reason sucks. That kind of things makes it weak, and then the action kind of become very generic and not really have any impact. But when you give me a continuous shot up a staircase or see Bond working with Ana de Armas, it looks cool sometimes. And the connection between him and Jeffrey Wright is very believable and seemed like they had a lot of fun working together again. So, is it the best James Bond? No. Is it the worst one? Of course not. There are so many bad ones. This one is competent, this one is believable, and this one actually gives James Bond a satisfying conclusion. It turns out in the long run of No Time to Die, there actually was some time to die. So, No Time to Die. I'm going to give this film a 7 out of 10. Now, thank you guys for watching this review. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, and I will catch you in the next one. Have fun, stay safe, good luck.